You know that feeling. That heavy, sinking dread. When you know you should start that big, complicated project, but your body physically refuses to move. You're glued to the couch, scrolling Instagram, doing anything but the high leverage work that will actually change your life. You call it procrastination, but it's actually something deeper. It's resistance. It's your ancient brain trying to save energy by treating uncomfortable, high-effort work like a saber-toothed tiger it needs to avoid. If you wait for motivation to strike, you'll be waiting forever. Motivation oftentimes follows time's action. It rarely precedes it. The good news is you don't have to fight that primal urge head-on. You just need to be smarter than your brain is lazy. Today, we're diving deep into 5 powerful, counterintuitive strategies, psychological tricks that bypass the resistance entirely and get you into flow state, almost instantly. We're not talking about willpower. We're talking about engineering your start. Trick number 1, the 2-minute rule. This is the cornerstone of overcoming activation energy. Activation energy is the barrier to starting. It's why putting on your running shoes is harder than running itself. The 2-minute rule states that if a task takes 2 minutes or less, do it immediately. But we're expanding this concept. When facing a big project, commit to working for just 2 minutes. Set a timer. Seriously, tell your brain, I only have to sit here and stare at this spreadsheet for 120 seconds. And then I can quit. Guilt-free. Why does this work? Because 90% of the time, once the 2 minutes are up, you're already invested. You've broken the inertia, you've put the ball in motion, and the psychological cost of continuing is now lower than the cost of stopping. You tricked your brain into thinking it was a tiny, inconsequential task, and now momentum is taken over. Trick number 2, the pre-game ritual. Your brain is a massive pattern recognition machine. It loves signals. You need a dedicated pre-game ritual that tells your subconscious it is time to execute high-value work. This needs to be a short, non-negotiable sequence that you only perform before deep work. Maybe it's putting on a specific instrumental playlist, brewing a single cup of very strong coffee, or just tidying your desk and arranging your notebooks in a specific order. The content of the ritual doesn't matter as much as the time's consistency asterisk. After just a few weeks, doing that ritual will become a powerful environmental cue, flipping a switch in your mind that shifts you immediately from distraction mode into focus mode. You're anchoring your mental state to a physical routine. Trick number 3, the anti-decision strategy. One of the biggest obstacles to starting is not knowing what to start. We suffer from decision fatigue before we even open the laptop. You look at your gigantic to-do list and spend 10 minutes trying to prioritize, which just gives your brain the excuse to pivot to YouTube. The anti-decision strategy eliminates choice. The night before, decide what the absolute single highest priority task is and prepare it for execution. Open the document, leave the necessary tools on your desk, write the first header, or find the relevant email thread. When you sit down the next morning, you are not allowed to decide what to do. You are only allowed to decide to start the pre-chosen task. By removing that friction point, you minimize the opportunity for resistance to build. Trick number 4, the ugly first draft rule. Perfectionism is a powerful form of procrastination. We put off starting because we're terrified of the gulf between our current skills and the perfect outcome we envision. We think we have to produce gold from the very first sentence. The solution? Give yourself explicit permission to suck. When you start writing, designing, coding, or planning, label the first attempt the ugly first draft or the Mickey Mouse version, your only goal is to complete the task, no matter how messy, redundant, or terrible it is. This is crucial because it shuts down the inner critic. Once you have a structure, even a flimsy, broken one, the brain registers that the hard part, the creation, is done. Editing and improving are always exponentially easier than staring at a blank page. Trick number 5, terminate mid-flow. This trick sounds counterintuitive, but it leverages the Zeigarnik effect, our tendency to remember incomplete tasks better than completed ones. When your timer goes off, or you hit your scheduled stopping point, deliberately stop in the middle of a sentence, a calculation, or a thought. Do not finish the paragraph. When you sit back down the next day, you won't face a blank wall. You'll have an open loop, a tiny piece of psychological tension waiting for you. Your brain hates open loops, and it will pull you back into the work naturally because it wants to achieve cognitive closure. It makes the next start incredibly easy because you're not starting from scratch, just finishing the idea that was already loaded in the chamber. Remember, activation energy is the biggest killer of progress. Your brain isn't afraid of the work, it's afraid of the start. By using these 5 tricks, the tiny commitment, the environmental cue, the decision bypass, the ugly first draft, and the strategic stop. You're turning procrastination into a predictable behavior that you can manage. You don't need a huge burst of inspiration, you just need a small push. If this script hit home, hit the like button. Tell me in the comments which trick, the 2-minute rule or terminating mid-flow, you're trying first. And if you're serious about building a high-performance life and mastering your own mind, make sure you subscribe. We're here every week to help you bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be.